Hello, welcome everyone to beautiful Park City, Utah. My name is Karen Walterson, and it's an incredible privilege and honor to be asked to introduce Dr. Shawn Talbott to all of you tonight. It is just an incredible, could bring you to tears. I have been involved with LifeVantage now for 3 years, and I certainly would never have seen such or expected to see such a wonderful turnout. So thank you for taking the time to be here tonight. We have an incredible learning opportunity for you. So my responsibility is just to do one thing, to try and culminate the expertise that you'll be listening to tonight by introducing Dr. Talbott. So go to the next slide, honey. How do you introduce someone who is truly an overachiever in every capacity of life? And I have to admit, when I invited Dr. Talbott to come and present in Park City, it was precisely that reason. I thought, my gosh, what an opportunity to bring an elite educator to our community. And when I think about Park City, and I know many people have driven from far away to be here this evening, and I thank you for that as well. But first and foremost on my mind was inviting Dr. Talbott to educate our community here. Because my husband and I, we relocated here almost 9 years ago, really for quality of life, for a balanced life. We wanted to raise our children not in crazy Orange County, but in a balanced environment. And tonight our talk is really all about that, is acquiring balance in life. And Dr. Talbott, you've got a couple pictures here. I'm a very visual person. I thought if I'm going to introduce him and do any justice to it, I've really got to throw some pictures up there. So the first accolade of Dr. Talbott that I'd like you all to be aware of for your own edification is his educational background. So next slide, hon. Okay. Up here is a very thorough overview of Dr. Talbott's educational accomplishments. And why is this important to you? It's important to you because he's going to be reviewing quite a bit of scientific fact, and knowing where that is coming from is super important. So up here we have a list of his undergraduate, postgraduate, as well as doctorate degrees, information about his fellowships, his current standing, and another. Take a picture if you'd like, just so that you can refer back to it. To me, that is so important before listening to someone, is to know the credibility that they bring with them. So first and foremost, educational background, big check. Next up, we're going to talk about Dr. Talbott. Not only is Dr. Talbott a renowned elite biochemist, but he's also an extraordinarily well-published author with over 200 scientific abstracts that have been published, as well as over 10 books on health, wellness, nutrition, and fitness. Here are just a few that are highly promoted on Amazon. Another picture, really, because after hearing Dr. Talbott, I'm sure you'll want to read a few of his published books. His most recent one, Deadly Antioxidants, is really what we'll be talking about tonight, what brings him here. Not only the best-selling book, but it also has spurred a number of highly watched TED Talks, major media frenzy, including, did anyone in here get a chance to hear Dr. Talbott this morning? KPCW did an interview, and it went so well they've invited him back. So we're very excited for that. So just truly, so not only elite biochemist, published author. Next, we're going to get into Dr. Talbott also manages to squeeze in the role as chief executive. Most of us know he is the chief science officer for LifeVantage Corporation, a scientific technologies company. And that role in and of itself, I think, would take most of us our full commitment. But in addition to being a chief science officer, next slide, he's also an elite athlete himself. He's competed at the international level in rowing, cycling, and triathlon. And just to really hammer home the significance of his athletic achievements, just this past September, Dr. Talbott was named the fittest CEO after competing in a 3-day executive C-level competition in Killington, Vermont. So very, very enormous. And another item I'll add is Dr. Talbott's overall credentials and just the ability to manage and balance his life. The few credentials I've already gone through, I think, would be overwhelming for any one of us to achieve one of those elements, but the list goes on. And I also want to add that the weekend after not only competing, but winning Fittest CEO, Dr. Talbott, as many of us know, led an enormous corporate feat by launching 7 days later, as we all know, a category-creating product to the world, and which launched an entire media frenzy as well as global travel. So I think for most of us, we know what it might be like. Here we are, Park City, we're very athletic, active people, and the thought of just putting our mind against preparing to run a marathon is one thing, but preparing to train and compete at a level like that, meanwhile, knowing that within 7 days you're about to launch a brand new category-creating product to the market is, I think, pretty incredible. And then finally, one more slide, I think. With all of this, most of us know, hey, we're going to overachieve in one area of life. It kind of tends to throw the others off balance. And here, once again, here's another overachievement. And I'm going to introduce Dr. Talbott really quickly because I'm sure he's not going to like this introduction, just a little over the top. But he's also, of course, quite a family man. And what's great is when you have someone who has achieved as much as he has in his life, and you have 2 minutes alone with him, what does he gush about? His children and his wife. So it is an absolute pleasure to introduce someone who is an absolute role model, and tonight share with you all how to have the endurance and the ongoing energy it takes to overachieve in all these areas of life. So please, let's give a very warm, very loud welcome to Dr. Talbott.